Hi, my name is Terry. I have 3 college degrees, including a master's degree from an Ivy League university. I'm fluent in 2 languages, and I have a commercial driver's license, which allows me to drive heavy trucks, and I still can't find a job. My girlfriend's been working at a fast food restaurant for the past 9 years, but what she really wants to do is be an elementary school teacher. So every day I'm going to be coming on here and telling you guys stories of things that I think are cool or interesting, and then I'm going to teach you a little bit of Spanish until I can earn enough money to send my girl to teaching school. So today we're talking about Vincent van Gogh, who is my favorite artist. Van Gogh's father, Theodorus van Gogh, and his mother, Anna Cornelia, gave birth to a son on March 30th, 1852, but that son was stillborn. And then on March 30th, 1853, exactly 1 year to the day that they lost their son, Vincent van Gogh was born. And they gave him the same name of the stillborn son who came before him, just 1 year earlier. His family lived in a small vicarage, which is an official residence provided by a church, because his father was a pastor, and his father was a pastor, and the fathers of many generations before him. Despite the fact that their family comes from a long line of pastors and ministers, they did not embrace a very strict fundamentalist type of Christianity. In fact, they embraced a more liberal Christian approach. Van Gogh's father and mother went on to have 4 more children. Their names were Anna Cornelia, Theo, Elisabetha Huberta, Wilhelmina Jacoba, and Cornelius Vincent. But Van Gogh only kept in touch with 2 of them throughout his life. Wilhelmina, who he communicated with through letters toward the end of his life, and Theo, from whom he received financial support and sent paintings to. By all accounts, his childhood was normal, happy even. His father was one of 11 brothers and sisters, and so his uncles had a great impact on his life. Uncle Johannes van Gogh, or Uncle Jan, was an admiral. And Vincent van Gogh was sent to live with him for almost a year during his childhood. Hendrik Vincent van Gogh, Uncle Hein, Cornelius Vincent van Gogh, Uncle Cor, and Marinus Vincent van Gogh and Vincent van Gogh Sr., or Uncle Cent, were all art dealers, but Vincent van Gogh Sr. was the most successful of the bunch. That's actually how Van Gogh's father got into art dealing. And so aside from preaching, art dealing was the other family business. Vincent van Gogh tried to build a career for himself as an art dealer, but he failed. And he never amassed any success in that field. And he was deeply humiliated by that failure, and he was always worried about what other people would think, specifically his uncles, because he felt like they would believe that we put so much work and effort into giving you all these opportunities, and what do you have to show for it? But there's no evidence that they actually felt that way. Either way, he was deeply concerned with what other people would think of his lack of success in the industry. Now, he joined an art firm at the age of 16 called Gogh and Sy. They specialized in reproductions of famous artworks, and they worked with some of the top artists in the world. This firm was very successful, and they opened multiple different locations. But despite the fact that Van Gogh never became a very successful art dealer, he was well liked at the firm. People referred to him as friendly, polite, dependable, and hardworking. This was in contrast with his brother Theo, who also worked at this firm. He was known for being crabby and ornery and frequently in a bad mood. In fact, this is what Van Gogh wrote about him in one of his letters. He says, "Theo, I must seriously advise you to smoke a pipe. It does you good when you're in a bad mood, as is often the case with me." So basically he was like, dude, go outside and roll up. I'm going to need you to smoke. This is not a good look. But when he was transferred to the firm's London location, it was undoubtedly meant as a promotion, as a reward for his positive attitude and good work ethic, and a chance to get away from his crabby brother who was often in a bad mood, and to get away from his nasty attitude. But Van Gogh loved his brother. And he ended up being very lonely at the London location, and he was also very homesick and missed his family. And this actually marked the beginning of his mental decline. The transfer to London got the ball rolling. So we're going to be finishing this story in part 2 tomorrow. So make sure you tune in tomorrow to see the rest of Van Gogh's story. But the Spanish I'm going to be teaching you today is amo a mi familia. Amo a mi familia. And what that means is I love my family. If you like this video or you learned something new, drop a like down below. If you'd like to see something else, leave a comment about what topic you'd like to be discussed. And if you'd like to support this work that I do, there will be a link to the Cash App in the description below. We'll see you next time.